And welcome, everybody, to the Three Village Geeks podcast. I've got more energy now than I thought I would have because it is late at night and we are deciding to run this podcast. But we wanted to talk about something that went down this past weekend. Maybe you heard of it. Comic-Con was this past weekend. Did you all see any coverage? Aside from the Marvel thing, obviously, which anybody was interested in. But did you all see any? Do you remember anything else from Comic-Con this weekend? Can you name one thing?
The Power Rangers event.
Okay. Of course, Morgan would know that.
I didn't even know there was a Comic-Con event going on until I was driving here. I got a notification that who the new Blade was going to be.
There we go.
I was like, oh, wow.
All right, so I'm sure there was a bunch of things announced, and it was probably very exciting, but that's not what we're here to talk about because Kevin Feige walked up on stage and he announced Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So there's a lot to unfold here. Now, here's some interesting things I want to throw out before we start discussing this. So this Phase 4 that was announced, there's two things to take away that I noticed. You know, when you see the picture, when it's all laid out and you get to see kind of the timeline of the movies and the Plus series, one, it only covers 2 years. So I think that's something to kind of evaluate. There's only 2 years worth of material here that they've showed us. And typically with these reveals at Comic-Cons or when they do their D23, I think is what it's called, when Disney reveals it, they typically go a little further down the line. You usually get about 3 years out. So for now, there's just these next 2 years. And of those next 2 years, we have, I'm going to count them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 5 movies, 5 actual cinematic movies, and 1, 2, 3, 4 television series. So the big push this year was, what did I get? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 5. I skipped over one. Okay. Let's recount this then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
That is 5 movies and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 TV series. So just as many TV series announcements as there was movie announcements. I know that was hard to set through because I had to actually count these, and you have no idea what I'm doing because it's a podcast and you can't see it. But I was actually counting these to make sure I got these right. So I want to go through each one of these as they are, you know, going down the line starting May 1st, 2020, which is the new thing. Which, by the way, I hate to tell you guys, we're pretty much a year away from any new Marvel movies. So this is the sad time for Marvel fans like us that have to sit around for about a year before we get some new material.
Less than 10 months, yeah.
So it's going out May 1st, 2020. And that's like a big tentpole day. Like their May movies are their big movies. They save them for, you know, the big releases. So we have May 1st, 2020. We have 2020. We have the Black Widow movie. What are your give me your levels of excitement? Let's start there. When you hear Black Widow coming to theaters May 1st, a Black Widow movie, what's your kind of gut reaction to that? You got a pretty big gut, so it's going to be a pretty big reaction.
Yeah. Actually, I have no expectation for this movie. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be bad. I just have no expectation for this movie because this movie is a standalone movie. We know what happens to her in the end. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a flashback type movie, and I think it's going to be divided up into 2 parts. One's going to be after Civil War, but before Infinity War.
Right.
And then there's also going to be flashbacks to her origins.
Does that kind of take the wind out of the sail there when knowing that ultimately Black Widow is going to die, despite what we have in this movie? Like,
yeah, I think it kind of does.
That's kind of the drag with prequels in general, is you kind of know where the character's going.
I mean, we know what she's about already. We kind of know her history. Just by the brief clips we've got, we got an idea, you know, of what's going on. But how more in depth do you want to go with it, you know?
Oh, apparently Disney feels confident enough to stick her movie as their big summer movie. So,
plus, I think this makes 5 out of the 6 Avengers with the standalone movie.
Listen, I didn't want to bring that up, but
I think she'd been better off with like a series, man. That'd been like her being like going on missions by herself and like every now and then there's another character that joins in on an episode. Like that'd been really cool.
So to be honest, I like that, and I think her and Hawkeye are better suited for TV series.
Yeah. Especially if they were together.
Yes. So, but I'm totally with that. Like I think they both were fitted better for TV series. That's why I'm obviously naturally more excited about the Hawkeye series. But like I think that fits him and fits his character and where they're going to go with that, especially with the Kate Bishop angle. So I don't want to say this was like for me and Captain Marvel. It's like I didn't really have an expectation, but at the end of the day, it's a Marvel movie. They're going to take care of us. They're going to service us. It's going to be what we expect from Marvel movies. This is a character that we've known now for a long time, so that can either have a bad or that can have a good effect. You know, either they show us something that we've already seen, or maybe they show us another element of her that we never knew about. I'm willing to put my trust in Marvel and say they're going to deliver a solid movie. I do want to see that gap, you know, between Civil War, because you realize that in Civil War, after the big airport battle and took off, that was the end of Roma. You didn't see her after that. Like, so now there's this big gap between that and Infinity War. How did she hook back up with Captain America? Like, where did that go? So I think it would make for an interesting movie, and I'm confident in Marvel. Let's just say that.
Well, because I agree with you. I think that memory serves me right. The last time that you saw her in Civil War, she's at the Avengers Tower, the Avengers Ranch, and she's talking to Tony, saying, "Watch your back."
Yeah,
because Tony had told her they're coming after you.
It's the end of Age of Ultron, wasn't it? Is that what you're talking about?
No, that was Civil War, because they said that T'Challa told the secretary what you did, so you're on your own.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he has that conversation. Yeah, it's because Tony's arm is in a sling. I remember that scene now. Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, you don't see her again.
She was weird in that movie. She was kind of all over the place in that movie. That was odd. Maybe they'll clear that up, or maybe they'll touch on that, but that was kind of weird. I didn't.
Because I loved her at the end of Winter Soldier, where she basically told either the Senate or the Congress or the Council to go to hell.
Right. Classic. All right. So we got the second movie. So by the way, we're only getting 2 Marvel movies in 2020. So
that's the first time in a long time.
Oh boy, that is and so one of them is a brand new property. So we have Marvel Studios presents The Eternals. Now I know Worth HTX is a huge fan of The Eternals, has every one of their comic books. So he's going to be the expert we're going to lean on here. Worth, what do you feel about The Eternals? Tell us all you think, man.
Well, I can tell you how they got their name.
Okay, go ahead.
They've been around forever, and they'll continue to be around for eternity. And if you break down the word eternity, eternal is what's inside of eternity.
So just like a lot of people, and clearly just like Worth, we don't know anything about the Eternals, besides the fact that we just take their name and kind of run with that. So I did do a little research of the Eternals before we did this podcast, guys, for your benefit. Now, this is a rare example. Something I found very interesting about the Eternals is they are one of the rare comic book characters or groups that have a start and have an end. And what I mean by that is they have their starting story, but the end of it, spoiler in the comics, they actually all die at the end. They have a definitive, like, that's it. And all the Eternals died. Boom. That's it. No resurrection, no snap, no nothing. Like, that's the end. So they have one very standalone story.
It had a good conclusion.
Right. So it's interesting that they have a property that has a definitive end. And that's kind of weird to have because, like, Captain America's story has been told very far. He's gone through a lot of different iterations. Spider-Man has gone through a ton of different iterations. We have a property of the Eternals that really is just kind of one big standalone story. It doesn't really go anywhere beyond that.
No, I agree with you. I mean, Captain America has had a bunch of reincarnations. Same thing for Spider-Man. The Eternals, if memory serves me right, their storyline was just definite. There was no resurrection. I want to say it take place in the 80s or late 80s, early 90s, but there's been no resurrection. That has been it. Bottom line.
So these are the kind of properties that initially scared me, and it's the same feeling I had when Guardians of the Galaxy, the very, very first Guardians of the Galaxy was announced. I was like, no one's ever heard of that. No one's going to care about it. It's not going to be interesting. It's going to be Marvel's first bomb. It's going to be terrible. No one's going to see it. It's going to be a joke. And then $1 billion later, they're this great franchise that's probably going to have 15 more sequels.
I am Groot.
So I'm not trying to put the Eternals in that category, but there's so little that we know. We don't even know much from the casting. I mean, Angelina Jolie's in this movie, which is kind of odd. I mean, I don't know.
Oh man,
I don't know if anyone's talking about that, but like, she's in it. What's the last movie she's even been in? I'm not knocking Angelina Jolie, but like seriously, like that seems so random. You know what I mean?
It just seems random for the MCU because I see her in a more serious role than being in the MCU, kind of, if you will. But
Now, I do trust MCU casting because they've had odd roles that have seemed to work. I want to bring out Jeff Goldblum as one of the elders in Ragnarok. He fit perfectly into that.
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Yeah, so yeah, if you want to go way, way back, I mean, nobody expected that. So
Or Chris Evans.
So I'm not doubting casting on that. I think they've done a pretty good job as far as casting. Just that seems a little odd. So we'll see. We obviously need a lot more information from this. We need a teaser. We need to know what they're doing, where they are. Like we need way more information. So I'll leave this as a mystery for now.
My expectations for this movie is the exact same thing for Black Widow. I'm going in there with a blank slate. I just want to be entertained.
Yeah. I got to see some footage first.
Yeah.
the Eternals, for someone like myself or people listening in, are they a group of superheroes that took place on Earth? Was it another planet? Can you give them a brief rundown of what they are, who they are, kind of?
So I guess they have existed before creation. I think that's the way, if you start reading it, they existed before anything was ever created. I believe there's 6 of them, if I'm not mistaken. That's literally where my knowledge ends because that's all I know. that's as much as I read into it.
Was it what movie was it where they were flying into space and then Stan Lee was up there with
Oh, that was Guardians 2. Yeah.
Were those?
I don't think those were. No, those were the Overseers.
Okay.
If somebody might correct me on that one, I believe those were the Overseers, which those are in Marvel lore, and those actually are. Those are also in the same lines that they've been around forever. So I believe they're Overseers. I don't know how in the hell I remembered that, but I want to say that's right. I want to say that's correct. Prove me wrong, everybody. Come on.
Well,
No takers on that one? All right. So we're going with
I think you got
Overseers. All right. So what do we got after that? So February, I call this the Black Panther slot also. Anytime there's a Marvel movie in February, that's the official Black Panther spot. But we got a brand new property again. This is going to be the second brand new property in a row. We got Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, I'll quiz both of you here because
What year is that?
that's 2021. February 2021, yes.
So you got 2 movies coming out in 2020, now we're in 2021.
2021. That opens 2021, and there's actually going to be 3 movies in 2021, which is pretty much the norm for the MCU. So that kind of gets it back on track. So I'll quiz both of you here. I know both of you don't know Shang-Chi, and you're lying to me if you did. So don't try to pull a fast one on me. But do you know the significance of the Legend of the Ten Rings?
The Mandarin.
There we go. See, I knew Morton would come in the clutch and know the story behind that.
And not Iron Man 3 Mandarin, but the legitimate Mandarin.
So that's important, though, because the Mandarin was supposed to be this fake, it was just a dummy. He's just the idea of the Mandarin. And they kind of remedied it, and I guess they retconned. I guess that's how you'd be saying it. But they retconned it by having, if you look on the bonus features for, oh gosh, I'm going to try to remember this now. I want to say it's Thor the Dark World, which if you have a Blu-ray of Thor the Dark World, you're like one of 12 people that has it because nobody has that movie. But if you look on the Blu-ray of it, there's a short film. They did Marvel Shorts, and one of them was called Hail to the King. And if you watch that, you realize that Ben Kingsley, who played the Mandarin, the fake Mandarin, he gives the impression that there is actually a Mandarin out there. It was supposed to be like he's supposed to be fake and, just the idea of him, but there's actually a Mandarin out there. So I think that's where they're going with that is Shang-Chi is going to have some kind of dealings with the Mandarin. But I'm going to put that one the same as the Eternals is I have no idea about this character.
Me neither, man.
I don't think anybody does.
Well, I think it's going to be with a lot of these films for Phase 4. I think we're not going to have any expectations because Endgame or Spider-Man Far From Home closed or completed 22 worth of films. It completed a history. They may touch on it every now and then, but the main storylines for a lot of those characters are done with.
Yeah, we're branching into a brand new era of Marvel movies. Right. So we're going to get brand new characters. I'm totally okay with that.
I mean, some characters are going to continue on, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Ant-Man, Wasp, and so forth. But the main storylines, I think, have come to a close. And these are all new storylines.
So, leading me into the one I'm probably the most excited about of all the movies that were announced, this one I'm the most excited about because this is their May 7th, 2021, their big tentpole summer movie. We have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
So 3 months later, after Shang-Chi. Okay.
We got basically Doctor Strange 2. Now, the best part about this particular movie, what I was most excited is when they announced the casting. And so you have Benedict Cumberbatch, obviously he's coming back as Doctor Strange, but you also have Elizabeth Olsen coming back as Scarlet Witch. So those are two characters, one, we haven't really interacted with together. Have we ever had a Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch speak to one another? Have they ever interacted once? And you can't say Endgame in the battlefield because everybody was battling then. But have they ever interacted?
No.
Morton, I've never seen you think so hard in my life.
Well, I'm replaying the movie in my head.
No, not in Infinity War either, no.
No, they were never on the same battlefield, right?
No.
Yeah, because Strange was off on Titan and Scarlet Witch was in Wakanda. So this is a mashup of two people that I think would mesh so well together. You got the Sorcerer Supreme, and then you got Scarlet Witch, and then we're also talking about, they dropped the word, the multiverse of madness. So they're bringing back multiverse. Spider-Man teased it, and now they're actually going to confirm it. This is the multiverse here.
And I think we're also going to get the drop of the word that Marvel has never been allowed to say, or the MCU has never been allowed to say, mutants.
Yes, I think this is exactly why Scarlet Witch is in this movie. And I think she is going to be the gateway that brings us mutants, and it's going to happen in this movie.
Because her powers are more like X-Men powers, huh?
Yeah, and they're not, and they haven't really been explained in the MCU. I mean, they've just been referred to as gifted in Age of Ultron, but they haven't even gone into depth of, why she is, and why she does what she does, if that made any sense.
And X-Men Dark Phoenix closed out the current X-Men saga, so that's done with. The only thing the only character that they're bringing over from any of the Fox, Paramount era is Deadpool.
The only successful one, or the only good one, unless they can coax Hugh Jackman into coming back and playing Wolverine.
Here's my thing about moving forward with the in the MCU now. In all the phases so far, even in the origin films that have come out for new characters, you have in some way they're tied to one another. Whether a future movie, there's a scene where it references back to the beginning of the story.
Right.
Regardless, up until the latest, Endgame. So moving forward, but everything that had happened in the past is basically the past, and here's a new beginning, or will we tie in still into the story with the MCU? Because I don't want to get away from all that stuff that we went through and to start something new.
Right. No, I don't think they would do that either. I think that tying back to old movies will be a lot lighter and will not be as strong as it has been. The threshold is going to be a lot thinner. I think they're going to connect moving forward with these movies, but have a less connection to the past movies.
I think if they do, it's going to be in a flashback setting.
Right.
If there is new footage that they want to film of the past, I think it'll be like a flashback setting.
So I'm jacked about that one, man. Doctor Strange, we've really only seen him just a few times. He had his own movie that was more of an origins and kind of established it. I love the idea of the multiverse, and I think you're absolutely right, Morton. That is our gateway to mutants, and that is potentially leading to mutant movies.
I'm going to go ahead and call a potential first. Have you ever seen Kingsman?
The Kingsman? No, I've never seen a single Kingsman movie. There's like 3 of them, right? I've never seen.
Okay, the main actor, you may have seen the trailer to it, Tegan, I forget how you say his name.
Yes, he played Elton John in Rocket Man.
Yes, I think he will be Wolverine. I'm going out. I've read stuff online, and I know to take it with a grain of salt, but I can see him being Wolverine.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can see him, because I can't see Elton John playing Wolverine now.
No one can saw Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. But
this is the same guy that criticized Robert Pattinson for being Batman, and now you're totally on board with Elton John playing Wolverine. You confuse me, Morton. You know that?
We do not mention Robert Pattinson in these podcasts.
So let's move on to before we lose our cool here, let's move on to the final movie, the Thor slot. Anyway, me and Morton were talking about this earlier. So Phase 4, here's a quick fact for you. Phase 4 will be the first phase without an Avengers movie. And with the inclusion of a 4th Thor movie, Thor is now the only character that's had a solo movie in every single phase.
That is correct.
That's a fun fact for you. I don't know
and also, if you notice, no Guardians in Phase 4.
Yeah, no Guardians, no Captain America, no Black Panther. We'll get to all that, but this is obviously they're pushing their new properties, and this is how they wanted to do it over the next 2 years. So we have Thor, Love and Thunder. Couldn't even tell you what that title means, but it's awesome and it looks awesome. What are your thoughts on that, Morton? Why'd you raise your hand?
Because I can tell you what that means.
Oh, okay. It's open forum, Morton. You can just talk. You don't have to raise your hand. I'm not a teacher. I'm not going to call on you. All right, tell me what Love and Thunder means then. Break it down for us.
Okay, in the comic series, the Love and Thunder is when they introduced basically what I call the Femme Thor. Thor retires, steps down, and I guess they're going to have Jane Foster.
Jane Foster now, the Portman.
Become the new Femme Thor.
Okay, that makes sense. I got you now. Will we be seeing Beta Ray Bill? Do you guys know who Beta Ray Bill is?
No.
Nobody knows who Beta Ray Bill is?
No.
All right. This is kind of awkward to
I do
explain,
want to
then.
see Quark, though. I would love to see Quark.
What do you mean Quark?
The guy who wanted to start a revolution and his little bug friend.
That's first of all, it's Korg.
Korg.
My gosh.
I want to see him.
Hey, mate.
Hey, man.
Name's Cole.
All right. First of all, Korg will be making they're guarantee you. They're going
his little friend.
And this is it's Taika Waititi, so he's directing. So you're going to have Korg there. So again, this one needs some more information about. I'm familiar with the character, though. I'm glad to see Thor in his own movie. I think Thor has literally gotten better as his movies have gone on. His movies have just gotten better. They started from okay to really bad to really awesome, and now they're going to be even better. So I'm totally okay with it.
You know what I find interesting? The fact that they were able to bring back Natalie Portman for this. Because I thought in Ragnarok, they basically wrote her off because Thor and her broke up. So I was thinking, okay, Jane Foster's done. He's either going to want to be with Valkyrie or go with a different character. But I was just surprised they were able to get her back.
Comes full circle, man.
Yeah.
Like gone in the second movie and then whoop, comes right back in the fourth. So looking forward to that one. That's going to be a fun one. So looking forward to at least more footage of that. We'll get a teaser of it probably in the next 2 years. But let's talk about the Disney Plus series. So now these are officially Disney Plus announced shows, and they don't have specific dates. They're all generic. It's like fall 2020, spring, summer, fall, whatever.
When does Disney Plus come out?
So I think Disney Plus will launch, I believe, in November of this year, something like that. I know it's later on this year. And so the first big show that they're going to put on there is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which sounds really awesome, actually, because I'm like totally all about both those characters. Yeah. They work well, they fit well, and I love that and even the logo is Captain America's shield. So like I love the dynamic between those two. I think that's going to be an awesome show. Baron Zemo's coming back from Civil War because he actually didn't die; he just got captured. So they'll do more with him.
He got sent to the raft.
Yes, so they'll do a lot more with that. That's going to be interesting. So I'm excited about that one. What do y'all think? I think we all share the same. That's a good way to start. Let's just say that. As far as like Marvel relaunching into this Disney Plus with television shows, that's a good way to come out of the gate firing with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well, my main question is going to be is how much time has going to be passed since the blip?
It'll be exactly 18 days.
As long as the show comes out, man, and it's like, high quality and it's like cinematic and not more of like a TV show, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean by quality? The quality of acting, the angles and stuff, the action sequences. You know what I mean?
Well, if Marvel Studio has its name on it and this is a Disney show and Disney owns like 60% of the earth, then yeah, I think they have the budget and they can make a show of high quality. Coming out spring 2021, that's the next drop of their show, is WandaVision, which is just stupid name. And I'm sorry, I've hated that name since the first time they announced it. So you get it? You got Wanda, who's Scarlet Witch, and you got Vision, and it's WandaVision. Get it? It's like television,
be
but
busy.
It's gonna be WandaVision. Yeah, really stupid name. But I want to see. Okay, so how does Vision fit into this now? Like,
it's one division.
Okay, I'm going back to.
That's much better.
I'm going back to after Civil War, but before Infinity War.
Okay, so Morton, I see where you're going with this. Okay, and I'll come to that point with you. So basically, what you're saying is these shows are just going to fill holes in between all these movies. It's kind of like a leaky ship. You're just filling holes in the different parts that we don't know.
I think that Falcon and Endgame will take place after
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Endgame. Yeah, sorry, Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to take place after Endgame. I think that you're going to see Falcon as the new Cap.
Yeah,
I think with that. But Vision, he died in Infinity War. He did not come back in Endgame.
Didn't even get a mention.
Yeah.
Did anybody notice that? Like, I don't think Vision's name was said once in Endgame. Can anybody remember that?
No, but he was honorably mentioned in Far From Home.
No, in that really grainy, crappy picture at the very beginning. Poor Vision doesn't even get a high quality picture.
So the stone was destroyed in that reality. She's not going to be able to bring it back. So I think the only place it can take is after Civil War, but before Infinity War.
Possibly. Sure, why not? I don't think it's recent. I think Vision's one of those characters that's unfortunately going to have to stay dead. He's going to have to go with Tony Stark.
Oh, don't tell me it's going to be like a Sixth Sense thing where, I see dead people and she just sees them and thinks that.
Oh, that, you know what? You say that in a joke, but that actually kind of sounds awesome. Like if like a Vision is a ghost or yeah, I actually kind of like that.
Because they're made out of the same material.
Mm-hmm. And I guess released right around that same time because they're both spring 2021. We got Loki's series. So I know for sure Loki's series takes place directly after when he used the Tesseract to leave.
Teleport.
To teleport from at the spot in Endgame. Stupid logo. Did you guys see the Loki logo? It's like they could not decide on a font, so they just decided every font.
It looks like the mythology logo.
Just weird. I think they got everything else looks right. And listen, we're nitpicky about logos. That's probably the stupidest thing to try to criticize.
Well, it's going to be next to the Hawkeye logo,
which is solid. And then, oh my God, and summer 2021 also. So yeah, the 2021 is like the heavy duty launching of their TV shows. So Loki's getting his own. I'm excited about that. They're going to have the What If series. Do you guys know what the What If series is?
No, sir.
I'm actually pumped about the What If, and y'all will like this too. I'll try to sell it to you guys. So the What If series is going to be the very first animated Marvel Studios production. So it's going to be all animated, and it's going to use the characters and the voices from the actual shows. So like the Hawkeye animated character will have Jeremy Renner's voice. Tony Stark will have Robert Downey Jr.'s voice. And it's different scenarios about what can happen in the MCU that we haven't seen.
Okay.
It's like a kind of a grab bag. Like, what if this happened? What if Tony Stark? Yeah. It's like if people were sitting around and saying, "Oh, what if Hawkeye actually wore Tony Stark's armor?" And okay, you follow that. Like, what would he do with it? That's just an example. So that's the whole What If series. It's actually gonna be. It sounds really awesome, and I'm excited that's an animation. So they could do a whole lot more with it.
Yeah.
And still use their voices. And then finishing off, like as late as it could possibly be, the very, very last thing, which means the most time you would have to wait for this.
Drum roll, please.
We get the Hawkeye series on Disney Plus. Oh, I have waited. Oh my gosh, how long have I waited? I've waited over 10 years for this because I would say I got into Marvel movies 2008, 2009. I have waited over 10 years for my first solo outing of a Hawkeye series. It's a Disney Plus series. Going to be featuring Kate Bishop. Going to be Hawkeye, I guess, passing the mantle to Kate Bishop, which is exactly where they need to go. Obviously, Hawkeye can't Hawkeye forever. I use his name as a verb and a noun. That's pretty awesome. Hawkeye can't Hawkeye forever. So he's got to pass the mantle to Kate Bishop. I think that's where that story's going to go. I'm totally cool with it. It's awesome. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best show of all time. And I'm sure both of y'all agree. Am I right?
I'm guessing they gave him his own show because they just said... F investing in a movie. We're going to just give him a TV show and be done with it.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah. I think he probably complained, hey, 5 of them have their own standalone movies. Then they're like, we'll just give you something on Disney Plus.
I'm still alive, and the dead one's got her own movie coming out. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
Man? They said, you know what, dude? Just get out of the office. Give him a show and let him go.
I'm glad everybody's drinking their Haterade today because...
No, in all honesty, I think it's going to be an interesting series. I don't know anything about it, so I go back to, is it going to be a Origins? Is it going to be Kate Bishop? I like the idea of passing of the torch, but I just don't know where they're going to take it.
And by the way, this will be the last thing I touch on it, is... giving Kate Bishop, passing on the Hawkeye abilities or having Hawkeye teach Kate Bishop also opens the door for the Young Avengers. So y'all need to look into that. Young Avengers, actually Kate Bishop was a member of that. It's basically the younger versions of the Avengers. They could go somewhere with that too. So
see, I would love for Hawkeye to lead into the West Coast Avengers.
Oh, that's like my freaking dream movie right there, because that is my favorite of iteration of the comics of the West Coast Avengers.
Because what I would love to see is a West Coast Avengers TV series.
That'd be amazing.
So the South Side Avengers.
The South Side Avengers. Well, we don't talk about them.
Oh.
We got Phase 4, guys. Next 2 years, Phase 4 movies. A lot of TV shows coming to Disney Plus. Really only 5 confirmed movies, and 2 of them are brand new properties. Ultimately, I'm excited though. It's Marvel. I think Worth said he wasn't like too when he saw the announcements, he wasn't as hyped. But I also keep this in mind too. Next month, or I think the month after, Disney does their D23 or whatever. I said it before. I said it earlier. But that's when I think at that particular event, that's when we'll get the more announcements. That's when we'll get a confirmed Black Panther 2.
Because that's solely focused on Disney. It's not focused on just Comic-Con.
So and that's where we'll get a confirmed Guardians 3. That's when I think this was they took Comic-Con, they took advantage of the Comic-Con crowd for the brand new releasing of these brand new series, these new properties, kind of gauge the excitement of it. But for their particular Disney thing, I think that's where we're going to get the movies we're all waiting for.
Do you think, because I did see a few clips of, the announcements and people getting excited. Do you think they were more excited that they finally know what's going to happen or where we're going moving forward? Or that there's some material that's finally coming out? They're really interested in the movies and shows.
I don't think I don't think everybody said, "Oh, Shang-Chi, yeah!" Like we've been clamoring for our Shang-Chi movie. I don't think they were excited for that. I think they were just excited for newly announced Marvel properties, kind of just like what we are. We're like, finally, we get something to now look forward to. But no, I don't think there's a Shang-Chi audience that's like, "Oh yeah, now he's being represented."
It's a Shang Tsung audience.
Maybe in China. We don't know.
So
finish him.
That is Phase 4. It's going to be awesome. Totally looking forward to it. The Disney Plus series is going to just deliver on all ends for the next 2 years, at least for the next 2 years. I'm actually as excited about that as the movie. So,
okay, are you more excited about Phase 4 or Hawkeye for Disney Plus?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to say, of course, it's Hawkeye Plus, because that's going to be the best TV show of all time. Y'all tune in for that one in particular.